We're Texas CASA, and we're exploring issues in the foster care system that need fixing and proposing solutions. This is The Fix.
I am Sarah Crockett. I'm the Director of Public Policy for Texas CASA, and I'm part of the fabulous public policy team. So we try to represent what's in the best interest for children at the state agency, at the Capitol, and we represent the CASA network to external stakeholders. The thing that makes CASA unique amongst all the other child welfare stakeholders is that we represent what's best for kids within the foster care system. So a lot of organizations focus on prevention or they focus on education. We really look at the whole spectrum of what happens to a child and a family within the child welfare system and how can we make that experience better. A lot of our focus is on improving the outcomes of children and youth in foster care. This session we were talking a lot about the children without placement crisis. Really, what can we do there? There was a lot of emphasis on doing more to support kinship families and biological parents overall, really talking about what are their rights, how can we support reunification, how can we prevent kids from entering the child welfare system, and what is CASA's role within each of those. We tracked over 400 bills this legislative session. This session, actually more bills were filed than ever before in history, and that included foster care bills. So there was a lot that we were tracking and paying attention to. One of the bills that we're most excited about that passed was around better advocacy and support for kids who are in residential treatment centers. So Senate Bill 1930 by Senator Kolkhorst passed, and that will require courts to have some additional findings and give some more powers and duties to attorneys ad litem and guardians ad litem, which is what CASA serves on in most cases across the state. And essentially we'll have more powers and duties when a child is in a residential treatment center. So we're really excited about that. Those are some of the kids that have some of the worst outcomes in foster care. They're the most vulnerable to abuse and neglect within the child welfare system. And so whatever we can do to provide higher quality advocacy and support, we're really excited about. And I think this will hopefully improve some of those outcomes for those kids. I think one of the biggest disappointments for us this session was that there was not a lot of movement on kinship care. There were a ton of bills filed and a lot of bills made it out of one chamber or the other, but ultimately none of them passed. And there were a lot of great ideas and recommendations that came out of some work groups from last interim. I think one of the things we'll be working on this interim is making sure that we're educating the legislature about the importance of kinship care, especially as we transition into community-based care across the state. It's going to be really important to ensure that biological families and fictive kin are supported and have all the resources that they need. Texas CASA serves on the Child Protection Roundtable. We're actually a steering committee member, and that is an organization or a coalition of around 75 different organizations that in one way or another advocate for best practice in child welfare. And it's been really exciting to be part of this coalition because the legislature really looks for ideas that are broadly supported, that are not controversial, that have been well vetted, and working alongside so many stakeholder partners allows us to have a higher level of efficacy and a broader base of support for all the legislation that we're working to enact. I've been a CASA volunteer since 2011. That's why I wanted to work at Texas CASA. Knowing and experiencing firsthand the difference that CASA makes in the lives of kids definitely is a motivator, but also, getting to partner so closely with our 73 local CASA programs. They are a great source of support and kind of joint advocacy alongside of us. And it really helps when things get tricky and stressful. I know that we're fighting for a broad, important network that's doing really good work. It's really just about improving the outcomes for kids that are experiencing foster care right now. How can we do better by them?